Most people over 50 are fighting a fire they cannot even see. It does not arrive with a fever or one obvious painful spot. Instead, it builds quietly over years, showing up as stiff joints in the morning, slower recovery after physical work, a body that simply feels less resilient than it once did. Scientists use the word inflammaging, the gradual rise in chronic low-grade inflammation associated with aging. It does not mean every ache comes from inflammation. And it certainly does not mean one food can switch the process off, but the pattern of what you eat, day after day, season after season, can influence the environment your body has to work inside. And here is what most people completely miss. 7 of the most useful foods for supporting a healthier inflammatory balance are not expensive powders with dramatic promises. They are already growing in ordinary gardens, in raised beds, in herb pots on window sills, and in some cases, in the cracks of the patio that most people have been trying to destroy. Before we go further, hit subscribe. What is coming next is exactly the kind of thing you will want to find again. Welcome to Hidden Ancient Harvest, where forgotten garden wisdom meets modern science. Food 1. Purslane. The weed you have been destroying is the medicine. Every summer, most gardeners find purslane spreading through their beds, around patios, and between paving stones. They pull it out, spray it, or toss it onto the compost pile. They may be discarding one of the most omega-3 rich leafy vegetables growing freely in their own backyard. Purslane is a low-growing succulent with smooth, fleshy leaves and reddish stems. It contains alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid involved in the same anti-inflammatory pathways that make oily fish valuable. For a land-growing vegetable, that is genuinely remarkable. Earlier generations across the Mediterranean, Mexico, and the Middle East ate purslane as a prized green, added to salads, soups, and grain dishes, not as a novelty but as a dependable part of ordinary cooking. Harvest only the youngest tops before flowering. Identify the plant with certainty. Do not collect from sprayed paths, roadsides, or contaminated ground. Eaten raw in salads or wilted gently into soups, purslane is one of the quietest nutritional gifts hiding in the most overlooked corner of any garden. The thing you have been fighting was working in your favor the whole time. Food 2. Turmeric. The root ancient healers reached for over 4,000 years, across Ayurvedic medicine in India, traditional Chinese medicine, and ancient Middle Eastern healing traditions. One root appeared in preparations for joint pain, digestive complaints, and what traditional physicians called heat in the body, a turmeric. And the compound responsible, curcumin, has been studied in thousands of peer-reviewed investigations for its documented effects on inflammatory signaling pathways. Human trials have shown curcumin can modulate NF-κB, one of the central molecular switches that activates the inflammatory cascade. Not by suppressing the immune system broadly, but by influencing specific signaling proteins that drive chronic low-grade inflammation at the cellular level. One honest note: curcumin is poorly absorbed on its own. Combining it with black pepper, which contains piperine, increases bioavailability by up to 2,000% according to published research. This is not a modern discovery. Traditional Indian cooking combined turmeric and black pepper in the same dishes for centuries before any laboratory confirmed why. Grow turmeric in a large container or in warm garden soil. Harvest the rhizomes in autumn when the leaves begin to die back. Grate fresh turmeric over warm dishes, into dressings, into evening golden milk. With black pepper always alongside. Your ancestors combined them for a reason. Food 3. Rosemary. The garden herb tied to brain protection and cellular defense. Rosemary has been associated with memory, protection, and vitality across ancient Greek, Roman, and Hebrew traditions for over 2,000 years. Scholars wore it. Healers prescribed it. Medieval households kept it at doors and windows not just for fragrance but as a symbol of health and remembrance. Modern research has focused on two specific compounds, rosmarinic acid and carnosic acid, that demonstrate antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity in studies. These compounds appear to inhibit the same inflammatory enzymes, COX-1 and COX-2, that pharmaceutical anti-inflammatories target, though through gentler and more complex mechanisms. Rosmarinic acid has also demonstrated neuroprotective potential in early research, protecting brain cells from oxidative damage through pathways relevant to cognitive aging. Rosemary is one of the most resilient herbs in any garden, surviving drought, tolerating neglect, and growing into a fragrant perennial shrub that returns year after year in most climates. Add it generously to roasted vegetables and meats, infuse it in olive oil, or steep fresh sprigs in boiling water for a simple daily tea. 2,000 years of human observation pointed at this plant for good reason. The science is now beginning to articulate what earlier generations already knew. If you are still watching at this point, drop a comment right now with "I am still here." Let us see who is genuinely following along. The next 4 foods are where it gets truly extraordinary. Food. For ginger. The root that works like medication, without the side effects. Ginger has been described in traditional medical texts from China, India, and the Arab world for over 5,000 years as a warming root that addressed what healers called stagnation, poor circulation, sluggish digestion, and what they recognized as localized heat and swelling in the joints. Modern pharmacological research has identified the mechanism. Gingerols and shogols, the bioactive compounds responsible for ginger's distinctive heat, inhibit the same inflammatory signaling pathways targeted by non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Without the gastrointestinal lining damage that makes long-term SED use risky for people over 50. Human clinical trials on ginger specifically show reductions in inflammatory markers, improvements in joint pain scores in people with osteoarthritis, and measurable decreases in muscle soreness following physical exertion. The research base is not perfect and not unanimous, but it is among the most consistent of any culinary herb studied for inflammation. Grow ginger in a large pot of rich compost in a warm, sheltered position. Harvest sections of the rhizome as needed throughout the season. Grate it fresh over food, steep it in hot water, simmer it in broths. Consume daily, in small consistent amounts, not occasionally in large doses. This is the rhythm that traditional cultures maintained and that the research most consistently supports. Herb food number 5, blueberries. The garden berry that reaches the brain. In one of the most cited human studies on diet and brain aging, older adults who added blueberries to their daily routine showed measurable improvements in memory and learning over several weeks. The researchers traced the effect to anthocyanins, the deep blue-purple pigments, whose metabolites can cross the blood-brain barrier and directly influence regions tied to memory, recall, and cognitive processing speed. But anthocyanins do not only work in the brain. They also directly influence inflammatory signaling throughout the body. They inhibit specific enzymes involved in the production of inflammatory compounds. They reduce oxidative stress, the cellular damage that chronic inflammation both causes and feeds. And they appear to support the health of blood vessel walls, the microcirculation that keeps every organ, including inflamed joints, adequately supplied with oxygen. Wild and smaller berries pack more anthocyanin pigment per bite than large commercial varieties bred primarily for shelf life and visual appeal. Growing your own gives you both. Plant 2 different varieties near each other for better pollination. They prefer acidic soil, a little pine mulch or peat works well. Freezing preserves the anthocyanins remarkably well. A summer harvest frozen in autumn still provides full benefit through the winter months. One of the easiest and most enjoyable changes available to anyone with a garden bed or a large container. Food number 6, kale. The cold hardy green that buys your body extra years. If there is a single vegetable that researchers return to again and again for inflammatory aging and brain protection, it is leafy greens, and kale sits near the very top of the evidence. Kale delivers lutein, a carotenoid that accumulates specifically in the brain and is associated with faster mental processing speed in older adults. It provides vitamin K in quantities that few other vegetables match, linked to better memory preservation and slower cognitive decline in population studies. And it contains sulforaphane, a compound released when the leaves are chopped, that activates the body's own internal antioxidant defense systems, including pathways that directly counteract the cellular stress driving chronic inflammation. One practical note. Sulforaphane is best activated by chopping kale and letting it rest several minutes before cooking. Heat applied immediately after cutting destroys the enzyme needed to produce the compound. 2 minutes of patience between chopping and cooking meaningfully changes what the food delivers. Kale is astonishingly cold hardy, often growing right through frost and tasting sweeter after a light freeze when the plant converts starches to sugar. Keep harvesting the lower leaves. The plant keeps producing from the top. This is one of the most reliable fresh greens for late-season gardens when almost everything else has gone. If you are not yet subscribed to Hidden Ancient Harvest, this is the moment. Every week we uncover the garden foods, overlooked plants, and old wisdom that still matters deeply today. Hit subscribe and ring the bell. The next video is already waiting for you. Food number 7, dandelion greens. The lawn weed our ancestors carried across oceans. European settlers did not accidentally bring dandelions to America. They carried the seeds deliberately, across a dangerous ocean, into an uncertain new world. They knew something about this plant that the modern lawn care industry spent a century making us forget. Dandelion greens, the jagged leaves that emerge in spring before the flower opens, are rich in taraxacin and taraxacerin, bitter compounds that stimulate liver and gallbladder function and have demonstrated anti-inflammatory activity in early research. The leaves also carry vitamin C, vitamin A, calcium, iron, and prebiotic fiber that feeds the beneficial gut bacteria increasingly understood to regulate systemic inflammation through the gut immune axis. Traditional healers across Europe, the Middle East, and indigenous North American traditions use dandelion as a spring tonic, a first-of-season medicine consumed specifically to address the stiffness and sluggishness that accumulated through winter months of limited fresh food. Harvest only the youngest leaves before the plant flowers, these are least bitter. Collect only from ground you know has not been sprayed. Wilt them into soups, add them to salads alongside stronger flavors, or steep dried leaves into a simple bitter tea that stimulates digestion before a meal. The weed growing in your garden this moment was worth crossing an ocean to preserve. Your ancestors knew it. Modern science is confirming it. The fire in your body was always meant to be fought with something growing at your feet. 7 foods. All of them growable in ordinary soil. All of them eaten by earlier generations not as supplements, not as interventions, but as daily food, repeated across seasons and decades until the pattern itself became protection. No single food extinguishes inflammaging. The process is too complex for any one root or green or berry to address alone. But a garden that grows purslane, turmeric, rosemary, ginger, blueberries, kale, and dandelion, eaten consistently, prepared thoughtfully, respected for what they genuinely are, builds an internal environment where the body's own systems have more of what they need to work with. The fire your body is quietly fighting does not require a prescription to address. It may require paying more attention to what is already growing. Smash the like button if this video changed how you see your garden, if you spotted something growing there that you will now treat differently. Drop a comment below right now, which of these 7 are you already growing, and which one are you adding this week? Are you team turmeric, team blueberries, or are you going to let that dandelion stay in the paving stones from now on? I read every single comment. Your answer shapes what Hidden Ancient Harvest builds next. The garden was always the pharmacy. You just needed to know what to look for. I will see you in the next one. God bless you.